If you've been spending some more time practicing your putting, but you haven't really seen the results that you want to, or you're not really seeing any progress in your putting, let's talk about some things that you really should be practicing that you probably aren't, that really are going to make you putt better. So throughout this video, I'm going to be showing you what my putting practice has looked like for the past couple of months, and I've really seen dramatic improvement in my putting by doing this method. So what I do is I basically just put down a golf ball, one golf ball only, anywhere on a green. I choose a random hole. I vary up my locations. I vary up the hole I'm going to. I vary up the distance, the break, all of it. It's all different. I then read the putt. I go through my entire pre-putt routine, and then I fire towards the pin. And then from there, I will putt it out as needed. If I make the putt, great, move on to the next. If you leave it to 1 foot, like I did here, I'm still going to tap it in anyway. If you leave it to 3 feet, 4 feet, mark it, reread your putt, and go through the pre-putt routine once more. Now, the reason that I stress the importance of doing this not only randomly, but one ball at a time, is this is what's going to ensure the most realistic practice that you can take onto the course. When you think about it, what most people will do is they'll put down 3 to 5 golf balls, they'll go 4 feet from a cup, and then they'll just hit that putt over and over again. And what you're going to see is there's going to be a lot of putts made, because after you hit that first putt, you have a feel of exactly what that putt does. You've seen it visually, and you've also done that stroke. So you do the stroke, you put another ball down, and then 5 seconds later you hit the exact same putt. You're way more likely to make that putt because you know exactly what it does and exactly how it feels. Now, I will say having that repetition and going and hitting towards the same pin is great when you're working on stroke mechanics. Say you're working on a different grip, you have a new putter, you're trying to work on different things, improve some consistency. That is a great way to practice. I'm a big fan of that, but it's important to be able to read putts, interact with putts, react to putts one by one individually, be comfortable going through your routine on a bunch of different putts and get individual feel for each putt. This is exactly what we do on the golf course. So when you think about it, why would we be hitting 10 straight putts from 10 feet and knowing what 9 of them do, because you don't really know what the first one does, when on the golf course you only have one crack at it? So let's practice like we only have one crack at it. For me, I always incorporate a lot of lag putting like you see here. These are, putts from 20, 30 feet. And if that ball goes outside of a 2-foot range, which is something I would normally kick in, anything inside of 2 feet, I will mark the ball and go through my routine. That was a good putt, so I'm just going to knock that one down. But incorporate this with your 5-foot putts. Put in some 15-footers. Put in some bomb putts, 50 feet, whatever you want to do. Practice from the fairway. Practice from the fringe. This kind of putting is all about versatility, and it's about being a reactive putter. It's very easy to make a bunch of putts when you know what they're doing. It's just not at all realistic to the golf course. So mix it up, look at different breaks, try different methods of reading the green. I think that that's something that really, if you think about your putting practice, how often do you work on reading the green? I think that you can hit a lot of really great putts on the golf course, but if you misread it, 0 putts are going to fall. So you need to understand how you can read greens. Do you like to use your feet? Do you like to stand behind the ball, behind the hole? Play around with a different way of reading. There's a bunch of different aspects that are so individual to putting that can't be taught. And the only way that you can kind of go through that instructional phase is through self-discovery. So I think it's very important to do drills like this where you're just spending 15 minutes putting the ball down, going somewhere new, putting the ball down, going somewhere new, because that's just going to teach you reactionary skills, and those reactionary skills transfer incredibly well to the golf course. One thing that I really want to emphasize about this drill, which is very important, is to, as I mentioned earlier, go through that entire pre-shot routine. Develop a pre-putt routine if you don't already have one. Some people like to look at the ball once. Some people like to look at the hole while they do their practice strokes. Some people don't do practice strokes at all. There's a bunch of different ways to go about a pre-putt routine, different things that you should be focusing on. If you don't have one, play around with different types. For me, I've always kind of had the same pre-putt routine where I read my putt, do one practice stroke, I step into the putt with just my right foot, I look down the line, and right now I am using the line on my ball, and what I'll do is I'll line up the line on top of my club with the line on the ball, and then I'll step in with both feet, adjust my grip, and then go from there. There's no wasted motion. I don't feel tense. It's very comfortable for me. So as you see here, that putt was not a very good putt. I hit it about 4, maybe even 5 feet past the pin. So even though this is a short one, I'm going to go right back into that pre-putt routine. Practice stroke, put that club behind, look down my line, and then commit to a pretty poor putt. A little bit of a push there. But again, as you continue to work through, you're going to notice trends. Hey, I made a lot of 15-footers. I read those really well. One thing that you should note is maybe bring out a notebook and say, hey, on all of my left to right putts, I underread every one of them. On all of my uphill putts, I was leaving them all really short. You can notice things, you can notice tendencies in your putting when it's this versatile, and I think that it's very important that you should be keeping track of how you're acting on these putts. The best golfers in the world are very analytical. They look at all their stats, they look at all different aspects of what they're doing. If you want to become a better golfer, you need to be analyzing what you're doing and how you're practicing in order to improve each aspect of your game. Again, this isn't the only method of putting practice I think you should be doing, but this type of versatile reactionary practice is absolutely effective. If you want to be working on your feels, your lag putting, every aspect of your putting, this is a great way to go. If you want to be working on your stroke, maybe some different aspects of your putting mechanics, then this probably isn't the best thing to do, but once you have that dialed in, absolutely turn to this method of practice. I think it is so important if you want to be better on the greens. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you've been practicing your putting, what has worked, what has failed to work for you. I find all of that quite interesting, so leave your thoughts and any questions that you may have for me in the comment section down below. As always, I thank you all very much for watching. Play well and take care.